Tonight, we welcome Ken Dahleen and his big band staff. The band started in 1992. All of tonight's performers are professional and studio recording musicians. The number of bands that these performers have worked with are numerous, including Jimmy Dorsey, Stan Kenton, Harry James, and also at Disneyland, just to name a few. All of the members in this band are also part of the Palm Springs Film Festival Gala Orchestra. Members have backed many major artists. To name a few, they include Don Rickles, the Ink Spot, the Temptations, and Martha and the Vandellas. From the Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory staff, I want to wish you all a happy holidays. Please join me in welcoming Ken Dahleen and his big band staff.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, we want to start out by saying we wish you a Merry Christmas. Thank you. So we are many faces of music. We are not the typical big band. We play many different genres. That was our Baroque contribution with our brass quintet, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. Now, one of the most popular of the big bands back in the 40s was Glenn Miller. And our next piece plays tribute to the sound that he made so popular. Here's Yuletide Medley. Thank you. That was our opening overture. I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to move right on to one that's very traditional. You hear it all over about this time of the year, and I don't think it even needs introducing. You'll recognize it right away. Thank you very much. Did anybody get the name of the tune? I thought you'd recognize it. Well, I got that particular arrangement from a friend of mine that used to be in the Air Force Band back in Washington, D.C. He sent it to me, and believe it or not, his actual real name is David Bandman. What are the chances that he would grow up to be a musician? So we're going to move along. This next tune, I'm sure you'll recognize it also, Angels We Have Heard on High. Okay, enjoying it so far? They put that picture in front of that window. We're actually looking outside, folks. It's snowing. That's very nice. Dustin cooked that up. So what do you think of this new theater? We call it a community room, but Dustin and I and the rest of the staff have been working on this thing for a couple of years, and I think we're just about have turned it into a theater. We're going to call it the Rancho Mirage Library Theater. So moving right along here, this next arrangement I got from a friend named Gordon Goodwin. Anybody heard of that band, Gordon Goodwin, the Big Fat Band? Well, we have this arrangement that was passed down to us, and we're going to do it right now. God rest ye merry gentlemen. Well, the secret here in the band is that about 9 of these charts we just got in this afternoon, and we had a quick rehearsal this afternoon, and that was one of them. So I always tell everybody, never cop out, no matter what. Just don't cop out. But I want to cop out. That was much faster than we rehearsed it. But I want to thank our great drummer, Andy, back there on the drums. He set that tempo for us. We talked about that earlier. You didn't hear that? Andy says, well, you told me don't drag. Okay, well, we're going to move on here. Here's another tune. This is Deck the Halls and All That Jazz. Well, now, I saw a couple kids in the audience. We call them children. They call themselves adults at some age. I think they all think they're adults. So we'll treat them like that and play a tune that they probably could sing right along with us. Here's Frosty the Snowman. Okay, I have to talk for a few minutes so we can set this next tune up. You heard, a lot of you know the fellow that's in charge of the AV here at the library. His name is Dustin Ingham. Anybody know that person? I'll bet you didn't know that he played guitar. Well, he does. He plays guitar and he sings, and I've worked with him when he was doing that, and I was impressed. We've worked together for about at least 10 years, and I never knew that until just recently. So I got these 2 charts in, and I handed them off to him about 3 days ago and said, Dustin, I'd like you to play this with us. And he looked he looked at the charts and he says, you gotta be kidding me. So I gave him a recording of the 2 charts, and he says, I don't know. And I said, I'm absolutely confident that you can do this. So this afternoon we rehearsed these 2 charts, and I want to introduce to you our guitarist, Dustin Ingham. Dustin Ingham right here. How about that? 10 years I've known this guy, never knew he played guitar. But here's something even better. He also sings. So much talent in one guy. Because Santa Claus is coming to town.
You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're away. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good, for goodness sake. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Come on. You better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, he's making a list, he's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're away. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good, for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Dustin Ingham right here. Keep it going. He needs the love. Thank you, Dustin, wherever you are. He's in the darkness now. We can't see him. He's going to go up to the booth and push that special button that makes us sound really, really good as we move on to Joy to the World. You'll recognize this. This was a very popular rendition that Keith and I collaborated on. It's a little bit of hijinks in this thing. It's the night before Christmas. I'm not sure, are they laughing with us or at us? My lead trombone says, we're not laughing. Okay, Keith, now.
3, 4. Here we go. 3, 4.
Is that it? 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Did you get it? The stockings were hung from the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were snuggled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums danced in their head. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap when out on the lawn there rose such a clatter. I sprang from... Wow. I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window, I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when, what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and he shouted and he called them by name. Now Dancer, now Dasher, now Prancer and Vixen, come on, Comet and Cuban and Donner and Blitzen. There was so many of them. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, all of you dash away. Really? As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop, the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my hand and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. Can you do that again?
Can I do it again?
I just want the bound.
Okay, here we go. Couple of smart asses.
He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. I make a mistake on that every single time. You'd think I could just read that word. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chumpy and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings. Then he turned with a jerk. And laying a finger aside of his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle. Wow, we do this different every single time. And away they all flew like the down of a thistle, but I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." So that's the big band staff. Thanks, Keith, for directing that. Before we move on, though, I just want to give these guys the credit that they're due. These are some of the top recording and playing musicians in the Southern California area, and I'm really lucky that they agree to play with me. Of course, we play together all the time, so they don't really have a choice. So here in the sax section, on alto along with me is Colin Wenhart. Jeff Barish over there on the tenor. And his co-wingman is Don Rice right here, also on tenor. Playing all those instruments over there on the end is Chris Dirrell. Now, if we go way back into the trumpet section, we have Dr. Jack Poster, Jostin Arflot, Chuck Howe, and Brian Badker. Coming up here in the trombone section, Art Dragon right here on the holding down the fort. Mike Zalazzo, Brian Bergstrom, and Todd Humphrey. We just met Keith Drosty. He's our piano player, and Mike Cohart writing tunes. Andy Fraga back there on the drums. Jeff Stover right here on the big bass. That's what we call the big band staff. And we're sticking to that because that's exactly what we are, is a big band staff. I don't know where that name came from, but it's stuck. Well, we're going to keep this show going with a tune that was written by a guy that writes great charts for big bands. His name is Dave Whoopi, and this is Jolly Old St. Nicholas. The angels are singing. Have you had enough? Well, that's good, because we're going to take you on a little sleigh ride. Okay, so here's the deal on this next one. This was actually delivered to us while you were coming in tonight, and we were having sandwiches in the room. And we looked it over and decided, okay, we'll do it. This was a tune that was written by Ralph Carmichael, a guy that wrote a lot of tunes for the Stan Kenton Band. And I heard it one time and I liked it and I ordered it. It just didn't get here until about 6:30 tonight. So we never rehearsed it. I think I know how it goes, but you'll be the final judge. Okay, that's called The Holly and the Ivy. Okay, we're going to slow it down a little bit. This is our final piece. Did you enjoy your time tonight? Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say the price was right. And we want to give credit. This is actually, it's a free event. It's not without cost. And the cost was provided by the foundation of the Library Foundation. So if you like this, call the library, tell them you liked it, and maybe donate a little bit. Here's our final tune, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Thank you very much. That's our show. We're glad to have been invited here to do that for you tonight. On your way home, drive safe, because we're going to be out there too.